Welcome to Talkin' Mets with Rob. Subscribe to the channel for all your New York Mets in-game live, pre-game, post-game, roundtable podcast, and all the breaking news for our New York Mets. Enjoy the show and let's go Mets.
Meet the Mets, meet the Mets. Step right up and greet the Mets. Bring your kiddies, bring your wife. Guaranteed to have the time of your life, because the Mets are really socking the ball, knocking those home runs over the wall. East side, west side, everybody's coming down to meet the METS Mets of New York town. Oh, the butcher and the baker and the people on the streets, where do they go? To meet the Mets! Oh, they're hollering and cheering and they're jumping in their seats. Where do they go? To meet the Mets! All the fans are true to the orange and blue, so hurry up and come on down, 'cause we got ourselves a ball club, the Mets of New York town. Give 'em a yell! Give 'em a hand! And let 'em know you're rooting in the stand. Meet the Mets, meet the Mets. Step right up and greet the Mets. Bring your kiddies, bring your wife. Guaranteed to have the time of your life, because the Mets are really socking the ball, knocking those home runs over the wall. East side, west side, everybody's coming down to meet the METS Mets of New York town, of New York town.
What's up, Mets fans? Welcome back to the Mets PostGame Show right here on the channel. I don't even know what to say anymore. Another lifeless performance. Scared performance. The Mets pitching had 18 strikeouts today. And the Brewers put up 6 runs on 9 hits. Just think of that. 18 strikeouts for the Brewers. There was 1 extra base hit in this ballgame for the Brewers. They singled us to death. You see what happens when a good, fundamentally sound team plays the proper game of baseball with proper fundamentals? The game comes easy, right? This is the team that plays the game well in all aspects. Defense, fundamental hitting, not trying to do too much, plays really good defense. This is what the Mets ran into with a team that has nothing to play for. And what is even more frustrating, you see Kansas City, you see the Padres, they're sitting certain players, not playing them. Now, Kansas City played well. They lost 2-1. I think we all expected Atlanta was going to win at least 1 or 2 of these games against Kansas City. Arizona can't get out of their own way either. Lucky for us. If the Arizona Diamondbacks lose, the Mets clearly have to win tomorrow. And you hope the Arizona Diamondbacks get swept, because then the Mets will clinch a playoff berth by the skin of their teeth, and Monday won't matter. But as we know, we are Mets fans, and there is no fucking way in our wildest dreams that Monday is not going to matter for the New York Mets, because we won't get that lucky. The fact that the Mets got 2 hits, what was it, 12 strikeouts, nothing brewing, nothing happening. They had 2 opportunities with man on second, both times with nobody out. They even moved the runner to the third, which was a good fundamental play, right? Hit a ground ball, moved over to third with less than 2 outs. 2 pop-ups. Couldn't get the run home. 2 strikeouts, Couldn't get the 1 strikeout and a pop-up. Couldn't get the run home. And, we complain, we argue about the people in the lineup. It doesn't matter. The fact that this team, I'm telling you, I don't care the faces, I don't care the management, I don't care the coaches, the GM, the owner, it doesn't matter. The players are the same players for 6 years with this core. 6 years. The fans that everybody loves, the Nimmos of the world, the Alonsos of the world, the McNeils of the world. I'm sorry, guys. These are losing players. How many times do I have to continue to say this and get killed by a lot of Met fans? It continues to be the same story year after year after year. These are the same players that pad their stats year after year after year. People give me stats all the time. Oh, look what Alonso does. Look what Nimmo does. Yeah, when? When the Mets are 15 games out of a playoff spot in the middle of August, and they hit like 15 home runs in a month and a half span and get like 30 RBIs, and they pad their stats. This is where their stats come from. If you don't believe me, go look yourself. It's very quick to Google it. The fact of the matter is, you got losing players. And we continue to complain about everything else except the fucking players. It's very simple, guys. Winning players are what you need. All I've heard, Nimmo deserved that contract. Where? Because he had a good year and a half and you give him a contract? What Nimmo has done well is finally stay healthy. Nimmo was stuck on 70-something RBIs for about a month and a half. That guy should have easily had over 100 RBIs this year, and he barely has, 86, 87? So in about a 3-month span, he has, 17 RBIs? He basically had 70 RBIs since July. Alonso, do I have to talk about him? Am I finally correct about Pete Alonso? And those two are not the only ones. It includes Marte. Not really, even though we couldn't really expect much from him coming off major surgeries, right? If you're going to rely on Marte, if you're going to rely, God forbid the Mets didn't have the Entos, how bad this lineup would be. Thank God for Iglesias. Iglesias has finally slowed down somewhat today, even though we still got a hit. Look who we're asking to win games for us. Iglesias, Marte, Vientos, Tyrone Taylor. You know what names I haven't brought up? Brandon Nimmo, Pete Alonso, right? Are we going to blame Francisco Lindor? Because he's probably playing at 50%. What were we expecting from Francisco Lindor? Coming off a back injury, hasn't played in 2 weeks, hasn't played in the game, seen live pitching. What did we expect from him? And then everybody wants Acuna in the lineup. We want this kid to be our savior. You know why people are clamoring for Acuna? Because Bader's doing nothing. Because Nimmo's doing nothing. Alonso's doing nothing. Martinez is doing nothing. So everybody was like, we got to get Acuna, right? Everybody got exactly who they wanted in the lineup today, right? We bitched about the lineup yesterday. Nobody really complained about the lineup today because, well, Acuna's in there, Marte's in there, and it gave us 0 runs. At least the lineup yesterday gave us 4 runs, all to nothing. The fact of the matter is, if we're going to bitch and moan about everything else but the players that are the biggest problems and are at the plate, on the mound, on the field, then you're not paying attention. Because this core has gone through Mickey Callaway, Luis Rojas, Buck Showalter, and Carlos Mendoza. Tell me again, it's always the manager? Now, I'm not saying some of these are good managers or some are better than others. The last time I checked, the core was playing in all of these games. 2019, rookie home run record for Pete Alonso. The Mets were out of it by the middle of August. The late August. So, great year for him. But what pressure was there on him? Everybody loved him. Right? 2020, I don't care about those stats. 2021, not a good season for the Mets. 2022, really good season for the Mets until you needed the core to show up when Marte was your best clutch hitter in 2022 in September when he got hit by the pitch and missed basically a month. Who did you ask to pick up the slack? Alonso, Nimmo, McNeil, all terrible. When are we going to learn? When are we going to pay attention? Because everybody had the blinders on for those guys that everybody praised for Nimmo getting a big contract, for having 1 good year and a half. And everybody forget about the other 4.5 seasons. Pete Alonso, the biggest padder of stats in baseball, that everybody considers him a great player. He's not. He's a power hitter who is a decent first baseman, not bad. What are you going to ask much for? He improved from when he first came up. But not only does his average go down, his runners in scoring position are well under 200 with average. The majority of his home runs this year have come in meaningless at-bats. I saw a stat the other day. I didn't fact check this. I should have. That's on me. I believe 7 of his 34, 35 home runs this year, 7 came in meaningless situations where they either tied the game or took the lead. 7 of his 35. So the other 28 came in meaningless at-bats. We're going to continue all of a sudden, and it's amazing how the turnaround happened with Mets fans. Because I've got killed for 1.5 years when it came to Alonso. Oh, how you gonna fill his production? What production? I can find somebody that can bat over 200 with runners in scoring position. I guarantee you that. We like to bitch and moan about the supporting cast that basically carried this team and kept them above water until finally Nimmo showed up and Lindor finally showed up and Vientos finally established himself. And McNeil didn't do nothing until after the All-Star break. At some point, the supporting cast is going to be the supporting cast. Guys who are fourth outfielders, guys who are bottom of the order guys. If you're needing them to win games, the majority, you're in a lot more trouble than you actually think. Because if you can't do damage 1 through 5, why are we always expecting 6 through 9 to come through? It's embarrassing. It's absolutely embarrassing. There's nothing to talk about positive in this game. There's no point breaking it down. What am I breaking down? 2 hits? It was actually impressive that the Brewers actually have 18 strikeouts and scored 6 runs on 9 hits. That means when they didn't strike out, they put the ball in play. Imagine that concept. Imagine that concept. Yeah, Lugo, I understand that, but you know what? Quintana, pitch count got up rather quickly because he had 9 strikeouts in, 4 innings? Right? Quintana is not a strikeout pitcher at all. Amazing he had 9 strikeouts. But why are we – I'm not blaming the pitching at all. There's no way I can blame the pitching at all. And the reason why you're not going to blame the pitching at all, because for the first 3 innings, Quintana was putting up zeros. The Mets could have scored runs and took a lead. How many times have I told you this, guys? The Mets pitching continues to have to be perfect because the Mets do not put up runs. And then these guys have to be perfect. At some point, they're probably going to break. Does anybody Quintana's a veteran, right? This is the guy that if I would have told you through the first 3 innings, he's going to put up zeros, he has 8 strikeouts at that point, you would expect the Mets to be winning that game. I'm sorry. Look, the 6 runs, they all came on singles, right? It's not like the Brewers beat us up and hit a ton of home runs and just knocked the ball over the yard. But the Mets had opportunities to put runs on the board. They could have put up runs early on. Wouldn't it be amazing if Manaea would have went out to a lead in the first inning, or Quintana today, putting up zeros? And I said this: you leave this team with those competitive juices flowing, feeling like they can win a ball game, even though it doesn't matter to them. The athlete, the competitor, is going to come out in these guys. If the Mets were to put a couple of runs up early, say the first 2 innings, and Quintana was mowing them down like he was the first 3 innings, you would have watched how fast Murphy would have started taking out Adames and Hoskins. But since the game was basically in hand and the game was in reach, why not just leave the guys out there? Because they're competitors. But as soon as the Mets would have took the lead, you would have seen how fast the guys would have slowly started coming out. The only thing we knew for sure was Pat Murphy was going to lose his high-leverage pitch, his bullpen guys today, because he wants to give them the next 2 days off. So you knew that was going to be the case. So you had to get to the first 2 guys that came into the game from Koenig, who was in the opener, and Myers, who pitched, 4 innings today? Those 2 guys aren't high-leverage guys. They're good, but the guys that you've seen from the 5th inning on, the 7th inning on, is they're big high-leverage guys. You had to get to them. The Brewers were giving you this game. Pat Murphy, if you listen to his post-game after the game yesterday, he even said it. He goes, we're going with opener tomorrow. I'm going to use my high-leverage guys late in the game, pitch them 1 inning, not pitching more than 20 pitches, so I can rest them for the next 2 days. And he even says, he goes, this is his exact quote, depending on the situation of the game, I might take out my big position players. He said that yesterday on the postgame and Brewers postgame. He said that. You know why he did it? Why would you? You can win another ball game. Hey, guys, you're in the playoffs. Pad your stats. What player is going to say no? What guy? You think Willie Adames, who's going to be a free agent, wants to sit? No. But I guarantee you Murphy would have sat him if the Mets were up a couple of runs in the 4th inning. The fact of the matter is the Mets can't even do anything right now. Now, yesterday, you knew the Brewers were going to play most of their guys for at least a half a game. They started to take out guys in like the 6th inning, 7th inning. But you don't score. I mean, what athlete, what competitor is not going to want to stay and just win a ball game? I mean, it's just a fact. So the Mets put themselves in a situation now. The Braves are obviously still the second wild card. They're a game up on us and the Diamondbacks, right? It's the bottom of the 8th in Arizona, and it's still 0-0. So that game's still in question. the fact is, if the Diamondbacks do lose today, the Mets are very, very lucky that Arizona is struggling like hell right now. Because the Mets actually can walk into an opportunity tomorrow where the Diamondbacks and the Mets both lost the first 2 games of the weekend series, the final 3 games of the year for the Diamondbacks. And if the Diamondbacks get swept and the Mets win tomorrow, we make the playoffs. And Monday won't matter. Now, ironically, that would be hilarious how the Mets basically trip over themselves to get into the playoffs and basically do nothing right and could have easily won one of these games, and the Diamondbacks would have to win tomorrow or they would be eliminated. The fact is, if the Diamondbacks lose today and we're going into tomorrow, the Diamondbacks are basically in an elimination game tomorrow because they can't change anything after tomorrow. The Mets still could. Even if the Diamondbacks win and the Mets get swept, obviously the Mets have to win both games to tie the Diamondbacks. So, listen, they better do it. I tell you that right now. Like, I don't see a desperate team here. I did not see a desperate team in Atlanta, which they weren't. They weren't a desperate team on Tuesday. They shouldn't have been going into that a desperate team. The Braves were. They played like a desperate team. The Mets played like a scared little boy that saw a ghost. That's the way they played. Hold on, guys. I'm trying to check something. Daniel, no matter what, we're playing the Braves. No, that can also still not happen. Again, if the Diamondbacks win today, absolutely. There's at least one game tomorrow on Monday that might matter for the Mets, possibly 2. But there's still a spot, a situation where the Mets don't have to play on Monday. If the Diamondbacks get swept and the Mets win 1 game, if I'm not mistaken, because there's only 2 games left, the Diamondbacks would have 2 losses more than the Mets. And even if the Mets lost the 2 games on Monday, it wouldn't matter. So let me just double check. I just want to make sure we got this right. Okay, so it would be 73 losses if they lose today. And if they lose tomorrow, it'll be 74. So if the Mets win, yes. If the Mets win tomorrow and the Diamondbacks get swept, the games don't matter on Monday because they can lose both games to Atlanta and they would have the same record as the Diamondbacks. They would be the number 3 seed and they would go back to Milwaukee. So, again, this is if the Diamondbacks lose today. If the Diamondbacks win, the Mets have to win tomorrow. Because at the very worst, they'll be going into Monday up a game. And they would have to win 2 games against Atlanta on Monday. And again, it can still be, depending on what Atlanta wants to do. And I'm not sure if Atlanta clinches a playoff berth. Because if the Diamondbacks lose today and Atlanta wins tomorrow, they clinch. So, well, actually, yeah, they clinch. So, damn, right? The Mets put themselves in a bad spot, didn't they? Even if they would have just took one of the first 2 games here, they would be in a better spot because it puts the pressure on the Diamondbacks even more. Yeah, and you know what? Listen, if it wasn't for the Diamondbacks having a bad couple of weeks, the Mets we wouldn't even be talking about playoffs for the Mets. Seriously. We would be talking about probably only the 3rd wild card, and this goes for the Braves as well. It would probably be between the Mets and the Braves for the 3rd wild card. Maybe. So, yeah, we're not playing our best ball, but it's not even about the best ball. They're not playing no ball right now. Like, they're not even playing simple fundamental baseball. Like, all we needed today to get the first run of the ball game when it was 2-0 was to get a sac fly. We had 1 out with a guy on third. What did we do? We struck out for the second out, and we popped up for the third out. Like, little things. Like, it's frustrating because it's just the little freaking things. Little things. And you know what? I know Chris is fuming right now. And, you know, he usually pops on in the chat. I don't even blame him. Like, this is a moment, Chris, drink a lot. Because tomorrow, I'm not even sure how you're going to get through that game tomorrow. I wish you well. Enjoy yourself as much as you can with your buddies and all that. But, man. Well, yeah, Daniel, we're half a game out because Arizona's still playing. It can either be a game back or tied still. Which is the only scenario that's going to help the Mets. So, I'm just checking the score right now. I'm scared to even let it load. Jesus. So the Diamondbacks have 1 on with 2 outs in the bottom of the 8th. So let's hope San Diego actually plays. Yeah, then the Braves won 5 straight. And again, this is what I talk about when I talk about experience and being there before. Right? We talked about this team over the last 100 games. Like this team who's played extremely well. The Mets have played extremely well. No doubt about it. But when you've been there, done that before, like the Atlanta Braves, like the Milwaukee Brewers, like the Cleveland Guardians, like the New York Yankees, when you've been there before, you go into games like that expecting you're going to come through. When you're a team like the Mets, who consistently haven't been in these spots enough. And guys like Nimmo, McNeil, Alonso, right? Guys who really haven't been through these types of situations except for once in their career, 2022. And we just expect them, or at least hope, probably more pessimistic or even hoping that they would do well, when we don't really know, because we've seen them in that spot once, and this is their second time in their career. And both times so far, they failed. They failed already. They're on the verge of failing now. And when I talk about veterans and guys who've been there before, who knows if Lindor was actually healthy? Could have made a difference? I don't know. I mean, we lost by 4 runs yesterday and 6 runs today. Can a healthy Lindor make up that many runs? I don't know. Right? We're grasping at straws here of trying to, pinpoint who's the problem when it's the entire team. Right? Manaea, who's pitched outstanding for like 4 months, they didn't have it yesterday. That was the game that I thought we had a really good chance in. Today, with the mental situation going on with this team, how can you be confident in today? Now, Mendoza has a really tough decision tomorrow because you are pitching Peterson tomorrow, and I understand why he's pitching Peterson tomorrow. You're hoping Peterson, because you can't use Severino, because that would be on really short rest, and at least on Monday, he would be on I think he would have either an extra day or a normal rest for the first game against Atlanta. That might mean elimination if we lose. So, I agree, Manaea was squeezed by the umpire, but that's not an excuse to throw a cookie to Hoskins in that spot. He threw a 94 miles an hour fastball right down the pipe. Squeezed or not, I'd rather him throw a pitch he was confident in, not a pitch middle in, to a guy who is basically only a home run hitter. So we can say Manaea was squeezed, and we all agree. But he also didn't get the job done. Right? You have to overcome situations like that during a season. How many pitches did Budo throw yesterday? Maybe 18. He didn't throw a lot. He kind of did a good job in that inning. But it doesn't matter. The fact of the matter is everybody should be available tomorrow. Everybody, I don't care if Buto needs an extra day off. No. You're going out there. This game is utterly important. The only person that shouldn't be in the game tomorrow is, I would think, Severino. And obviously the pitchers who pitched Quintana and Manaea. Even Tyler McGill could be an option. Because if David Peterson don't have it, guess who's going to be coming in? It's probably going to be McGill. Because you can't let this get away early. And now you put yourself in a situation where the Brewers, who still got the competitive juices flowing, who aren't going to throw any high leverage pitchers tomorrow, which Pat Murphy told them they're not. Who knows who's going to play for the Brewers tomorrow? They might sit Adames, they might sit Hoskins, or they might take them out early. Everybody's on the table tomorrow. Tomorrow, the Mets need to play desperate. Not scared, not hiding, not lifeless. Desperate. And that's where it goes. It's an unfortunate situation, but nobody did this but themselves. They had a 2-game lead against the Braves, and they were up a game on the Diamondbacks prior to that Tuesday game against the Braves. And the Diamondbacks didn't score in that inning. Okay, so it's the top of the ninth. 0-0 in San Diego and Arizona. And we're going to stay with you to see who wins the game, so we can really discuss, oh my God, we're in trouble. Literally, oh my God, we're in trouble. Or, oh my God, we got a fucking break. Because, again, and I'm going to reiterate this, and guys, please hit on that like button. I know there's 150 people in the stream right now on X, Twitch, YouTube, all over the place. There's I don't know how many people are on Twitch, but there's a good amount there. X, there's a good number, outstanding number on YouTube, guys. So hit that like button. If you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button. And listen, I apologize to all Met fans, right? I can't change the outcome. I can't help the result. We all can't, right? We can just frustrate, have our voices aired out. This is Mets therapy that we're well accustomed to. Unfortunately for us, we got to deal with this shit every single time. Like, the only time when we don't have to deal with heartache and pain and suffering through games is when the Mets are well out of it. And they're playing meaningless games for a month and a half. And we can bitch about the offseason and all that. It sucks, right? These are the worst times to be a fan. Unfortunately, it happens a lot to the Mets. It just does. They can't get over the hump. They just can't, especially this core. Ah, boy. All right, they got one on and one out. Let's see if San Diego can help us out here. Oh, Lord. Yeah, nobody. I 100% agree with you, man. I agree. I've said this. They played a heartless, lifeless, scared game on Tuesday. They looked like they didn't even want to walk onto the field. And it started right away. That first inning. So, I keep on saying the same thing, guys. You know what? Lindor can have his meetings. Mendoza can be a good manager. But when your core guys, right, the guys who've been with this team for 5-6 years, when they don't come through, it's very hard to ask other people to come through constantly in big games. No, explosive. They did yesterday. Yes, they did. I remember it. Alvarez was like running in the background. Severino had it. I remember that. So they did. Oh, shit. Did the Padres? Oh, Higashioka, baby. Yeah. former Yankee. All right. We got some life. Padres up 2-0. Higashioka for the Padres hits a 2-run homer against Puck to give the Padres a 2-0 lead in the top of the ninth. All right. Somebody knows how to play baseball, baby. All right. That's what I'm talking about. Yes. I just feel this way. The Mets are going to trip over themselves into the playoffs. I don't even think they're going to even do what they need to do. They're going to find a way to trip over themselves into the playoffs. Like, amazing, guys. Amazing. Like, I mean, how much more, guys, do you realize this? The Mets could have won these 2 fucking games. The Diamondbacks are probably going to lose 2 in a row. We would have clinched tonight. God damn it. Sorry. 3-0. I mean, Jesus Christ. Oh my God, it's so frustrating. Brandon Lockridge, his first homer. Like, oh my God. Oh, my Lord. Fucking amazing. We've got help. Again. Just so you know, guys, it's 3-0 Padres. They just scored 3 runs at the top of the ninth. 2-run homer by Higashioka and a solo home run by Lockridge. Guys, I mean, we could have been popping champagne, clinching a playoff berth if the Mets would have took care of business these last 2 games. The Diamondbacks ended our postseason berth on a silver goddamn platter, and we can't even do nothing about it. What did Ray say? Hanging from dental floss. I don't even know if it's dental floss. You know that the strongest wire in the world that's like really, 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 really thin. I forgot what it's called, but it's really thin, but it's really, really strong. That's what the Mets are on right now because they have a huge opportunity tomorrow if this score stands up. They win tomorrow, and the Diamondbacks fall on them face. The Mets are in. I mean, I can't. God. Yeah, the baseball guards are trying to help us. The Padres, who kicked us out of the playoffs in 2022, the Brewers they're not helping us. Let's be honest, guys. The Braves kind of put us in a position like they didn't play well prior to the game on Tuesday. I know they won 5 in a row, but before they played the Mets, they did win a couple of games in a row. But like, I mean, my God, Jesus, I mean, all we had to do was win these 2 games. The Diamondbacks are giving us the postseason. And just so a little stand-ins update here, just so everybody knows, the Mets are 88 and 72. The Arizona Diamondbacks would have 73 losses. So technically, they would be in a dead tie because the Diamondbacks would have 1 more win than the Mets, and the Mets would have 1 less loss. So it would be tied. So again, if they lose tomorrow and the Mets win, they're in because they can only get to 74 losses if they win tomorrow and the Diamondbacks lose. Yeah, well, Westport, I'm trying to give you, the outcomes here if it happens, right? So, yeah, Batty, 3-0 Padres. Let's hope the Diamondbacks don't miraculously come back here because that would be you're just twisting the knife at this point. Put more salt in the wound because oh, God almighty. I just can't, guys. I don't. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. Like, do you realize, guys, we must have spoken about this game for about 10 minutes of this 40-minute stream so far. So the other 30 minutes is complaining that everything is working out for the Mets here. Every scenario except for the Braves. But they don't need the Braves. They don't need the Braves to lose to clinch. They just need the Diamondbacks to lose. And it's slowly happening. And if I'm the Mets, wherever they are at this moment, in their hotel, in the clubhouse, watching the Padres game, whatever they're doing, they need to come together here and say, guys, we got a golden opportunity, a lucky break, let's be honest. Because there could have been a scenario here where the Diamondbacks won 2 in a row. And the Mets would be very much in trouble. They would have to win the next 3 games. They got a lucky break. Now, the game's not over. Arizona can still win this ball game. But if they lose today, the Mets need to take a big sigh of relief here and just say, guys, let's go out tomorrow and do our damn jobs. Let's make it happen by any means necessary. Like, they should get a boost of energy if Arizona loses today. And by the way, guys, if you're just tuning in, we have 180 people in here. Over 180 people here, guys, on X, on Twitch. If you're watching on X or Twitch, please head over to YouTube, click on that link, and subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit on that like button, guys. Thank you for tuning in to the Mets PostGame Show. It's not a lot to talk about with the game. We're basically watching, scoreboard watching Padres in Arizona right now, talking about our frustrations in the comments. Myself, the lackluster performance with this offense, the core is nowhere to be found. But, you know, I'm glad their paycheck probably cleared because they don't deserve this paycheck at this moment. But, yeah, Ray, awesome. It's actually absolutely awesome, guys. The pregame show with me and Chris, the postgame show with me and Chris has been growing amazingly. And we couldn't do it without you guys. So, amazing job by you guys. And we wouldn't be having these conversations if it wasn't for you guys. So we do appreciate it. And again, for you guys to continue to come back with this team that continues to beat the hell out of us, and it's 5-0 Padres now. So it's looking better and better for the Mets, and a lot of luck involved for our Mets right now. So we are choking. The Arizona Diamondbacks are choking. And it's going to come down to who is able to get that last breath of air when they're both choking to make the playoffs. Because it doesn't look like the Mets or the Diamondbacks are going to help themselves into the playoffs. It's like 2 turtles just going to the finish line, and it's So if you're just tuning in, guys, the Padres scored 5 runs in the top of the 9th. And the Diamondbacks have 1 hit. So it's looking good. There is hope in Queens. Technically in Milwaukee, but in Queens. This is the only luck that the Mets had to actually go into tomorrow. If this score stands, the Mets have an opportunity to still clinch in Milwaukee if they win with Arizona losing. And as you all know, every game is played at the same time. So you're scoreboard watching, but one team doesn't know if they have to win or lose. It's going to be balls to the wall tomorrow. Going to have the Mets on the big screen, Arizona on the small screen on my laptop or phone somewhere just to continue to watch. Because by 7 o'clock on Sunday, give or take, probably 6:30 or so, I'll be doing a post game. Don't worry. We can be celebrating a Mets clinch by the skin of their teeth. Or, regardless of if the Mets win or not, if the Arizona and the Mets win, which is not the worst case scenario, but if both teams get swept, let me just double check. If Arizona loses tomorrow and they lose tonight, they would have 74 losses. The Mets lose tomorrow, they'll have 73. They would have to win 1 game on Monday in Atlanta. Oh, I love these scenarios. And I wish that you guys can really clearly see this. Now, I got the roundtable group chat. I got my coworkers at MF Fans group chat. I got Sean, who's a great subscriber, texting me. I got all these are group chats, guys. All those are group chats. All Mets fans, all different groups, just going nuts. And the Arizona Diamondbacks go to the bottom of the ninth, down by 5. So, Ray is not a burner phone. If it was, I'd call the Mets front office and bitch and moan and complain if they couldn't track it. You mean if Arizona, no, explosive, because they would have 74 losses and we would have 73 if we get swept and Arizona gets swept. We need one game in Atlanta because we can't lose both games, because then we would have 75 losses. Arizona would have 75. They would win the third wild card by a half a game. If we win one, the worst we can do is tie them. If we win both, then, but again, it comes down to Curtis, Yankees 28th coming up. Well, I've heard that before. It's been 14 years. I mean, there's kids that were born 14 years ago that are now starting high school. So it's been a long time. And again, you got a great chance. Don't get me wrong. The American League is not as strong. So the Yankees do have obviously a chance, and they get the bye and they get home field advantage throughout. So they're in good shape, obviously. But for you to troll a Mets channel, it's kind of like, shouldn't you be worrying about the postseason where Aaron Judge hasn't hit at all? And, you know, Juan Soto will show up. I can guarantee you that, because he's a clutch performer. Will that be enough? I mean, you got Garrett Cole and nobody else. So, but again, you're in a good spot. Yeah, I mean, explosive. Basically, technically, we need one win if Arizona loses. If Arizona wins tomorrow and we win, well, we're going into this tied, but the Mets have to win both games. Yeah, because the Mets would have to at least have the same record. So, right, because if we lose, it would be 88 and 74, and we would be 88 and 73. Yeah. So no, you're right. We would have to win one game. You're right about that. Sorry about that. Yeah, we would have to win one game. So, yeah. So, yes. Yeah, well, Stan, I mean, Milwaukee used 7 or 8 pitches. They used like 6 pitchers today. The difference is they use their high leverage guys from the 7th inning on. So it's all right. So it's 1 out, 1 on for the Diamondbacks, 5-0 Padres. But that's what I'm saying, guys. Like, the baseball gods are helping us. It's amazing. The help that we're getting here. Again, the Mets would have took the first 2 games. Arizona's on the verge of losing. The Mets would have been sitting in the clubhouse watching the Arizona game, ready to pop the champagne if Arizona loses. This is the situation we could have been in on a Saturday night. I would have had my champagne ready to pop it with you guys, spray it around. Well, not spray it around because I don't feel like cleaning it up. But you get what I mean. Pop the champagne, pop the cork, drink a little bit, celebrate a postseason berth for the second time in Steve Cohen's short ownership. But we don't help ourselves at all, because why would we? So, guys, again, cigars, I could get one, but I'm scared. I don't want to buy the champagne. I don't want to buy the cigar because I feel like I'm going to jinx it. But then again, it's the Mets. They jinx themselves. So, well, explosive, listen, this is what I'm going to do tomorrow, guys. There's 2 outs. 2 outs, 1 on, 5-0 Padres, bottom of the 9th. Once again, guys, hit on that like button. As Keith just said, the more likes we get, we're constantly at 170, 180 today. Awesome job, guys. Appreciate it so much. But make sure, guys, listen, if you're a new subscriber of the channel, I usually have a co-host. His name's Chris, CP Mets and Knicks. Subscribe to his channel as well. Just type it in, CP Mets and Knicks, and you'll find him. Subscribe to his channel as well. We finally got him over the 1,000 subscriber hub. Awesome. Now the next goal, 2K. Let's go. Come on, guys. Let's go. You're helping me out. Help him out. So remember, guys, the Mets have got the grace of the baseball gods. All the help in the world. The Diamondbacks have given it to you on a silver platter. The Diamondbacks need to win tomorrow because they can't afford, if they win tomorrow, they guarantee that Monday is going to be important for the Mets because they would have to win one of those games, the Mets. So, with that said, the Mets got to continue to actually play baseball. And could they play baseball and actually do well? I don't know. I can't tell you. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I don't have faith in tomorrow. I truly don't. I really, really don't. And this is even if the Brewers basically sit their main guys and pitch their lower tier bullpen guys. I don't know. I truly don't know. I truly don't know, guys. And there's 2 outs. Padres 5-0. Is the game over yet? No, but it could be just now. And we're going to wait until the game is over so we can talk about the scenario that we know. Knicks 100. What's up? How you feel about that trade? You did get Cat. You lost Julius and you lost Devo. I know that's kind of like mixed feelings here as Knicks fans, but hey, listen, you need stars. That's how you win in the NBA. And just waiting for the Padres to get the final out. And the Mets got the miracle that we need. But the game's not over yet. I agree, Cat plays no defense. But again, Bridges does. OG does. Right? And the game is over. Padres win 5-0. Put it in the books. The San Diego Padres have helped the Mets 2 days in a row as the Arizona Diamondbacks lose 5-0. And the Mets are still tied for the third wild card going into game 162 for everybody else except for the Mets and the Braves. So, scenario time, guys. Official. The Mets got a lot of help. Didn't help themselves. Go figure. The Mets have 87 wins to 72 losses. Right? Okay, we're on the same page. The Mets win tomorrow. Arizona loses. They would have 73 losses. The Mets would have 88 wins. That means going into Monday, they would need to win 1 game. That's it. They would need 1 win. So, it comes down to tomorrow. Will the Mets show up? Yeah, and listen, if the Mets win and Arizona loses, the Mets need 1 game on Monday. My God. Yeah, I'm just making sure I'm correct. I just got to make sure. I'm trying to do math here, guys, and it's like over those scenarios over the last couple of days just drove me freaking nuts. But right now, we're in a deadlock tie. Right? Arizona has 73 losses, excuse me. The Mets have 87 wins with 72 losses. So it's a complete tie. 1 less win, 1 less loss. The Braves clinch. I think so. No. Because, well, they might have. Actually, I think they did. No, because if the Braves can lose 4 in the next 3, and Arizona, no, they're not clinched nothing yet. They would have to win tomorrow. They win tomorrow, it's done. They just need one. Their magic number is 1, so they just gotta either one win from them or Arizona loss, and they're in. Yeah, should we win tomorrow, it would be 88 and 72. If the Diamondbacks lose tomorrow, they'd be 88 and 74. So yes, I apologize, guys. If the Mets win tomorrow and the Diamondbacks lose tomorrow and get swept, the Mets are in the playoffs because they would have 2 less losses than Arizona, and we only have 2 games to play. Those games are not going to be played because we don't need it. The Braves will be in the 2 spot, and we be in the 3 spot, and we'll be staying in Milwaukee for Tuesday. Correct. But again, when we play tomorrow, everybody plays at the same time. So games are going to be happening quickly here. Everybody's playing around 3:20. Yeah, but exactly. That's why I'm saying that Monday won't matter if the Mets win and Arizona loses tomorrow. Because the Mets would have 2 less losses and they have 2 games remaining. Doesn't matter. Now, if the Mets and Braves want to play for seeding, which I don't think anybody wants to pitch anybody of importance or travel to Atlanta if they don't have to. The fact is, we can avoid Monday, but we need help. If we win tomorrow, Arizona loses, playoff berth clinched, we got the 3rd wild card, and we're staying in Milwaukee. We don't have to leave, which is best case scenario. Now, if the Mets lose and the Diamondbacks lose and they both get swept, the Mets would need to win 1 game on Monday. Arizona has to lose for us to clinch, and we have to win. Yes. But there's 2 scenarios or 3 scenarios here. Scenario number 1, Mets win tomorrow, Diamondbacks lose, we clinch. Mets and Diamondbacks get swept. Mets need 1 game in Atlanta. If Mets lose, Arizona wins, the Mets have to win both games on Monday. So let's avoid that. The worst case scenario I want to deal with is just winning 1 game on Monday. Best case scenario, win tomorrow, Diamondbacks lose tomorrow, we clinch. And the Mets trip over themselves and stumble and roll down the flights of stairs and make the playoffs. So, guys, Arizona loses 5-0. They've lost 2 in a row in this weekend series. The Mets have lost 2 in a row as they lose 6-0 against the Brewers. Tomorrow, David Peterson is on the mound with TBD, which I'm assuming is an opener. They're going to be using a lot of low leverage relievers, guys that are like tier C relievers, not very good relievers. We'll see what Murphy does with the lineup tomorrow. I doubt he's going to play a lot of these guys all game. We'll see. But guys, tomorrow is game 162 for everybody else except for the Mets and the Braves. It's game 160 for the Mets. The Mets still have their playoff berth in their hands. They win tomorrow, they guarantee to at least clinch or at least win 1 game in Atlanta. So, we all will know what the Mets do and the Diamondbacks do probably around 6:30, 7 o'clock, because everybody plays the same time tomorrow. Everybody plays, at 3:10, 3:05, but everybody's around the same time. The Mets and the Diamondbacks start at 3:10. So, simple fact is, we will know by 6:30, 7 o'clock when the post game happens, we either be celebrating or we will be talking about a bad situation for the Mets if they lose. Now, we can't control what Arizona does. We can control what we do. The Mets win, we know for a fact that Arizona loses, we clinch. If Arizona wins and we win, we have to win one game on Monday. If we both lose, we still got to win one game on Monday. But by no circumstance can we lose and Diamondbacks win, because then we would have to go to Atlanta and win both games. That's a scenario I don't want to deal with. Because even if we win game one, game two is going to be so freaking just devastating. Slowly you'll have the knife in my heart slowly turning it inning by inning. And we all know the Braves want to just put that final nail in the coffin. But the Mets don't have to have that happen. The Mets got the grace of the baseball gods help today. Thank you, San Diego Padres, for actually showing up and playing baseball when you did not need the games. Thank you. Musgrove, I don't hate you that much. A little bit. But thank you, San Diego Padres, for giving us a chance to still clinch tomorrow. So, guys, with that said, thank you for tuning in. We got over 215 people. Excellent, guy. Holy crap. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it so much. I know it's tough for you, Met fans. I understand it. It's tough for me. It's tough for Chris, who's actually at the games. I feel sorry for him to deal with this nonsense. But appreciate all the support, guys. Once again, guys, if you're on X, hop over to the channel. Subscribe to the channel on YouTube. If you're on Twitch, please do the same thing and hop over to YouTube. Subscribe to the channel. If you're watching, please hit that like button on X, Twitch, YouTube, all that fun stuff. Guys, tomorrow is the desperate game for the New York Mets. I don't want to see no scared Mets. I don't want to see no lifeless Mets. No more excuses. There is no reason to come in tomorrow and be scared. You got the gift of a lifetime. Show up. Win a ball game. And hopefully you're popping champagne in the clubhouse on game 160 for the Mets and the Braves, but 162 for everybody else. So let's go Mets. Let's go Padres. And let's get a W tomorrow, 3:10. I'll be in here for pregame. Maybe I'll even do a in-game live. I don't know. I don't want to jump on toes with John or anything like that, but, you know, we got to do what we got to do here, right? So maybe I'll do it. Maybe I'll do pre-game, in-game, post-game, just all day long during football Sunday. We're either going to be celebrating, disappointed, or heartbroken. All those emotions can happen. So with that said, guys, thank you for tuning into the Mets PostGame Show. Thank you, guys. Constantly over 180, over 200 for the last 10 minutes. Awesome, guys, for the support. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button, guys. I will see you tomorrow, probably around 1:30 for pregame. With that said, guys, have a good night. Thank you, Padres. Mets, wake the fuck up. Have a good night, guys. I'll see you tomorrow. We got a break. Let's take it and run with it, guys. Have a good night. Let's go, Mets. And I'll see you tomorrow, guys. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday night.
Welcome to Talkin' Mets with Rob. Subscribe to the channel for all your New York Mets in-game live, pre-game, post-game, roundtable podcast, and all the breaking news for our New York Mets. Enjoy the show and let's go Mets.
Meet the Mets, meet the Mets. Step right up and greet the Mets. Bring your kiddies, bring your wife. Guaranteed to have the time of your life, because the Mets are really socking the ball, knocking those home runs over the wall. East side, west side, everybody's coming down to meet the METS Mets.